my schedule. But there's an event on Steam right now. I think it ends tomorrow or tonight. I don't know which. With a whole bunch of demos for like narrative-driven games. So I got like 6 of them that looked interesting to me. So tomorrow we're probably gonna play through a couple of those. Yeah, probably. I don't know if we probably won't beat all 6 of them in one stream. It depends on how long they are. I still have to finish some other demos that I downloaded like last year. So, yeah. We will see. RPG with like pixel art and stuff. It looks really nice. And we got Glitch Hikers, the spaces between, which is like this first person game. I don't know much about it. It just looked kind of interesting. And the one that in this Steam Showcase thing, or whatever it is, that seemed to be like the most quote-unquote AAA was The Invincible, which is like a nuclear punk space game. It seems pretty cool. It's a really pretty looking game too. So yeah, we'll be playing all these tomorrow. And then I still have to finish 2 other demos. I have to finish the Inodart demo and Monster Tribe. So if we get through all these, then we'll play through those. Or I guess we could start with Inodart and Monster Tribe. We'll see. I completely forgot that I've streamed what was that called? I don't know already. Oh, Signalis. I still have to finish Signalis. I'll probably have to restart at this point. But yeah, because I don't remember where I'm at or how to do anything if I go back. Sorry. I was probably loud. And I have. So before I started streaming, I was playing through Monster Hunter Stories 2. I never finished it. I've been thinking about restarting it and streaming it, because it is fun. So we might do that. But we need to finish one of our games first. We need to get through Mass Effect still, but that's probably gonna be a long while. Probably. Yeah, I've played Monster Hunter Stories 2 second. Oh yeah, I completely forgot that I have Left 4 Dead 2. But if anyone wants to play it with me, any fellow virtual tubers out there that want to play Left 4 Dead with me, or that a SCP game, let me know. Cause that sounds like fun to me. I bought Left 4 Dead 2 because a friend told me to get it because it was on sale for like $1 or something. So that's what I did. Hi Thorn, thank you for lurking. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a good Sunday. It's just the command is just lurk. Like that. dad's got his volume up. Sorry if you can hear it. One second. Can I drink some water real quick? Let me know if you guys can hear us, the show he's watching or whatever he's doing, and I'll ask him to quiet down. But let me know if you guys can hear it. Thank you. Well, hello. Hello, hello, Clean O'Connor. Hello, hello. Is that not the junk? That's pretty cool. I wonder how they got permission to use LeChonk as an emote. There's that Pikachu emote too, from Pokken Tournament, I think. Yes. We love LeChonk here. I still have to finish Violet. I have to play it on my brother's Switch though, because I don't have a Switch. But that's okay. Do I call you Clean? Or how? Sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. Or O'Connor. Do you have a preference? And thank you for the follow. Thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you. Mwah. Mwah.
have publicity. That's good. Okay. The sound is fluffy. I'm glad. I've got a fluffy mic cover on my microphone. Oh no, that's okay. Fluffy's a good word. It's a good word. Yeah, it's okay. It's a good word. Noise? Yeah. Very noise. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll try not to be too loud then. Oh, it's 4 a.m. That's pretty late. It's 8 p.m. for me.
Sorry. My chair is really creaky. It's so loud. Stipple. Stipple, 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 stipple. Stipple, stipple, stipple. myself to sleep. It's okay. It's okay. It'll be alright. I'm here. It's okay. you're supposed to start with the book. And, I guess, I don't know.
This this book has, at least the cover has that printed kind of linen texture. So it makes a nice sound. Sounds kind of like when you unzip a tent. I grew up Mormon, so naturally I was in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. But it's been a while since I've went camping or anything like that. And like every year, we do a camp in like February called the Klondike. I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but the Klondike is this Boy Scout camp out trip thing that you go to in February, January with your troop, and I think a bunch of troops in the area go. And it's like the dead of winter in the middle of February or late January. I can only remember 3. I think they kind of stopped doing Klondikes. The last one I went to was kind of a disaster. So, at a Klondike, you go and you usually get there in the evening or afternoon. So you have a few hours before nightfall to set up your tent and stuff. And depending on how much it snowed, you'll have to dig out. You have to shovel enough snow where you can stake your tent. Because Klondikes, they're quite windy. At least the last one I went to was. And I can't remember where it was. But it was really windy. And so we get our tent set up. And at Klondike, they feed you. So we ate dinner or whatever. Well, actually, I don't remember if they feed you. I think they give you breakfast. But you're in charge of your own dinner or something. I can't remember. Anyway, you set up your tent and there's a meeting or whatever. Hello, Javier. I've been good. I can't remember what year was this. It was like 2017. It was 2017, maybe. It might have been 15 or 14, so it might have been 2015. But it was like really cold that night, and where Klondike was that year, it was really windy. So there'd be this big gust of wind, like every few seconds or every minute or so. And I was in a tent with like 3 other people, 3 other scouts, and we were in this kind of big tent. It was kind of old, and so here we're trying to sleep. It's probably sub-zero outside the tent, probably inside the tent too. You're trying not to freeze, and I didn't get any sleep that night. And that's a cute emote. Oh, it's a global emote. I didn't know that. That's a cute emote. And so every few minutes, you'd hear the wind coming. It would sound like a train whistle, and then after a few seconds, it whipped the tent. I like to talk with my hands. You can't see my hands, so I'm just. But one of the people in my tent, they came with their dad, because their dad was one of the scout leaders, I think. I can't remember, but he got really cold and they didn't want to stay in the tent anymore, so he went and slept in their Jeep, which is a good idea. But after a while, I think after he left, the zipper to the front door of our tent broke. So it's just me and 2 other people. One of the other guys, he was wearing a hoodie or his jacket, and he literally just shoved his head in the corner of a tent, in the corner of the tent, and like put his arms over his head, and he fell asleep. And it was really windy, but anyway, one of the leaders were like, help, the tent zipper broke. So they get like a tarp and like duct tape it to the tent. It kind of works, but not really. Like, we can still see outside the tent. And oh yeah, I forgot, I skipped some stuff. So before the door broke, it had snowed so much that we had fallen asleep, right? And it had snowed so much that the roof of the tent was bending inwards and was like touching the floor of the tent. Like I woke up, I was in like the left side, on the left side of the tent, left side of the door, and I woke up and I look over and all I see is my friend's head sticking out of his sleeping bag, and then there's the ceiling of the tent on top of him. So we had to like yell for someone to come help us, and they shook it off, and then thank you, Javier. And the roof of the tent pops back up. It didn't break. Thankfully, the tent flap stayed on, because this wasn't a winter tent, I don't think. So, because it had the mesh wall, and then you put the the tent flap or whatever it's called on top of it, like if it's raining or whatever. And yeah, that was something. And then I think that's when one of the guys went to his dad's Jeep to sleep. He probably still didn't sleep very well, but he was having a better time than we were. So it was just me, my friend that got crushed by the roof. He was fine. And the other guy that shoved his head in the corner and fell asleep. So we're not tired at all now. And then the zipper breaks. So we're like yelling for help, and one of the leaders is like, what? And then they spent like maybe 20 minutes trying to duct tape this tarp because the wind's still going. It didn't stop at all through the whole night. And I think we were in a canyon. It did not help. And they duct taped this tarp to the front of the tent, alright? But the wind's still getting in, and we're freezing. So we're just screaming and yelling because it's cold, and the tent flap is making all this noise. And before the wind hits, you can hear it like a train whistle. Like 5 seconds before it hits, like thunder after lightning. But it's before, yeah, whatever. And yeah, anyway, some of the duct tape comes loose, so the tarp is just flapping, and we ask for more help because we're just cold and we're in our pajamas. So the other leaders try to get, anyway. It's flapping, and outside of our tent, through my vantage point in the tent, I can see through the door, and there's another tent with some other boys in it, some other scouts, and they had a worse time than we were. They were in like a 2-3 person tent. I think there were 3 of them in there, and their tent, they did not have a good time. They're like 2 years younger than we were at the time. They're still 2 years younger than me, but the wind would come through, and their tent would like literally push down on them every time the wind came, because there were no trees or anything to break this wind before it got to us. And after a while, their tent flap just came loose and went right over the tent. I don't think it blew away. But yeah, so they were exposed directly to the wind because it could get through the mesh of the tent. Now that the tent fly or whatever it's called was gone. So me and my friend are just laying there in our tent and watching these younger scouts standing up holding the roof of their tent up like, help, help, help. I don't remember much of that camp out except for that night, and everybody left the next morning. Nobody stayed. So at a Klondike, you camp out, stay the night, and then the next day you do all these snow-related activities, like and then you compete with the other scout troops to get a better time in this snow-themed obstacle course or whatever. I don't know. Like I remember the one time we did the activities, we had to climb over this rope net thing, all this stuff we had to do. But everybody just had a horrible night, so like everybody left. Everybody was miserable. Nobody got a wink of sleep. It was freezing. That one sucked. And that was the last one I went on. I don't know if it's because I aged out of it or what. But that was the last one I remember going on. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. And no, if you're wondering that we didn't get Klondike bars, it would be way too cold for ice cream. Why would you think that? No ice cream. I think Burger King foot lettuce. Yep. Hello, dill picking. If that is how you say your name. Oh, that's okay, Javier. You have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, yeah. I was doing some tapping. And growing up as a young Mormon boy, at least in my area, every year we do at least the area I'm in, we do a camp out called Fathers and Sons, where you just go camp out in this camp with your dad for a night. They were fun, but every time it was always at the same camp grounds. And every time I ever went to a camp at this specific campground, it would rain. No matter what, it would rain every time, every year. And some years it would snow. But yeah. Oh, thank you for redeeming first, Maesty. It's good to see you. Thank you. Ooh, yeah. Usually floating gets it, but they didn't today. Oh, yeah. I felt bad that you didn't have the VIP badge. I don't know why I didn't give it to you. You have it now. Well, you deserve it. Yeah, it rained every year at this camp. At these campgrounds. Yeah, I gave you artist. I can't remember who I took the VIP back from that I gave it to, but it's yours now. I get more slots. It's okay. They're never here. I don't even remember who it was. You didn't steal it. I did. And I give it to you. I get more slots when I have 10 people chatting at the same time. So, yeah, it'll be a while. Am I close? I don't know. I think, the achievement is at like 7 out of 10. How do I look at my achievements? Where'd they move achievements? Oh, they're right here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm at 9 people out of 10. So, you get some when you reach 50 followers, and then you get some more when you get 5 people chatting. So I need some more people. I think I only have that many because Christy rated me last time she streamed with like 29 people. So I think that's why. But I don't know. Out of 25? Ah. You're close too. But yeah, I became kind of familiar with these campgrounds because I was there like once a year, maybe twice a year. Yeah, but you can do it. You're great. And every time I went to this campground, it would rain without fail. I think one time it didn't rain. I was like, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. But yeah, I was there one year for like a stake camp, and in Mormon lingo, a stake is a group of wards, and wards are individual congregates. How do you say the word? Congregation. I can't say the word. I'm sorry. But a ward is a number of people that live in around the same area, and sometimes a building. So if you go to Utah, there's a chapel in like every corner, basically. Like I can see it from my house, kind of. And across the street from my neighborhood, there's another one, and then that's the stake center. So a chapel can have up to like, mine has 3 wards in it. The one that I used to go to had 3 wards in it, because the ward that was using the building when the building was built got too big, so they split it. And now there's 3 wards there. But anyway, a stake is a group of wards in an area, and there's like a bunch of stakes too. So I was at a stake camp, a youth stake camp, at this campground, and so it was it was my group of youth in my ward, and a whole bunch of other groups of youth from their wards, and we went to this camp for, I think, I can't remember what it was, but it was a state youth camp, and it was miserable because every time I go to this camp, it rains, and so the camp it's like this big field with a couple with this clearing. You go down this hill and turn into it, kind of down this gravel path. It's not very long, and then you come down into this valley that is a clearing, and then there's this meeting hall with some bathrooms, a kitchen, and this big room, kind of like a chapel room, and with a big fireplace. So you'd have meetings and eat in there, and so there's this clearing outside of the meeting house thing, and to the right of that, so the meeting house is built into the side of this hill. Thank you for the follow, Zuxty. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that name. But thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. It means a lot. And to the left of this, I was correct? Okay. Thank goodness. Zuxty. I like that. It's nice. And to the left of this building is built into the side of the hill is this kind of, I don't know if you call it an amphitheater, but there's this big fire pit in the middle, and there's stairs, concrete stairs / seating built into the hill. And then next to that is some trees that go around the clearing, and at the opposite side of the clearing from the meeting house are some kaibos. Thank you. I try to make it ghosty. I do ASMR every Sunday night. I play games during the week. I'm going to start trying to do. I'm gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna start doing ASMR every Wednesday night and Sunday night. Well, I don't think these are kaibos. I think they're toilets. A kaibo is just a toilet sat on top of a big pit that you do your business into, and they stink all the time. So there's these bathrooms, these toilets, and then behind that next to the toilets is another slope down, kind of like a little hill down from the clearing, and a bit farther from that, there's all these trees behind the clearing, down in this lower land, because it's on a slope. It's not a big slope, it's like probably 4 feet difference. There's all these trees, and then behind those trees is a river, and then behind the river is a mountain. It's really pretty there. But this particular camp out, this stake camp, we were assigned groups that we were going to stay in tents with, because there was not enough tents for us to each have our own. And because there was a Mormon camp, we were split on each side of the camp. There's the boys' side and the girls' side. But anyway, couple friends, and they're like, "Yeah, you can stay in our tent with us." And their tent was like right next to this slope, right next to the slope. So it was below the clearing level. And that night it rained really hard, and the tent that I was going to stay in with my friends, it wasn't a plastic tent, or that cloth with the plastic covering to make it water resistant. It was just a cloth tent, and it was right next to the slope, so all this runoff went right into the tent, and it was soaked. So it's like pitch dark, because we had just eaten, in the rain. I think it was either still raining or it had stopped raining. But the tent was just soaked. The bottom of the tent, it was swamped. All right, and I was just miserable. So we're like, well, we can't sleep in here. And it was cold, because we were cold and wet. I think my sleeping bag was dry. But so I get my stuff out, and we get like an adult, and we're like, "Hey, our tent is just swamped." So this adult has to help us find a tent to stay in, and I was upset and cold and wet and miserable. So, and there were a couple boys from school that I knew that weren't in my ward. They were in another ward. They were in a tent, and like, hey, the leader was like, "Hey, so my name, can Ketchup stay in your tent with you? Because theirs is soaked." And they're like, "Sure," because they're nice enough. But they were all friends. I only knew one of them, or I knew 3 of them, but not super well. I think I went to preschool with one of them. But anyway, I didn't get much sleep, because they talked all night, and I think they were being a bit quote-unquote edgy for Mormon teens, because one of them had a decent Gollum impression, and one of them had a decent quote-unquote decent Elmo impression. So they just talked back and forth as Elmo and Gollum, and yeah, this is what guys do when they get together, And I didn't want to change into my pajamas, because I didn't know these people, so I didn't want to get undressed in front of them. So I get in my sleeping bag, in my clothes, and whatever. Sleeping in jeans suck. I don't recommend it. But anyway, that night was miserable. I don't know why I'm telling this story. Oh yeah. But so I've been to this camp probably 10 times in my life, which is a lot. Because I'd go at least once a year for fathers and sons. But I got old enough where I could say, I don't want to go, Dad. It always rains and it's miserable. So eventually my dad and my brother stopped going altogether too, because it was always just miserable. It always rained, no matter what. So they came back one night and they were soaked or something. They did not have a good time. But yeah, anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I started talking about all this because I was tapping this book. And it's got a texture that it sounds like a tent zipper. At least to me it does. There we go. It kind of sounds like a tent zipper to me. But it was always like except for that one when like the tent got soaked. They were usually a good time, you know. They weren't awful. Yeah. I went to, I think it was 2014. We went to a camp, for scout camp that year. And it was the last year that you could get the horsemanship merit badge. Because they were retiring it after that year, so you wouldn't be able to get it ever again, right? And you could only get it at this camp because it was big enough that they had a horse ranch with horses, so you could actually do it at this camp. So everybody was like, sure, let's do it, because we're never going to get another chance to do it. And to get your horsemanship badge, I think we had to do a couple like worksheets. So they're like, here, what's this part of the saddle, or what's this part of the horse? What's this and what's that? You know. And then we got on a horse, a bunch of us, and then we just went down this trail with the horse. And I was too small or something because my feet could barely reach the stirrups. That wasn't a whole lot of fun. But scout camp typically goes from like a Monday to a Friday. Sometimes Tuesday to Thursday or whatever, you know. At least it's a week in the summer. And the last day of that week, or whatever, we had to test the final quote-unquote test to get your horsemanship badge. Was they had this wooden corral with really high walls. There wasn't a ceiling. And you go in one at a time. You get on the horse, and there was a guy in there, and he'd say, hey, do this, tell the horse to do this, or do this certain command to make the horse gallop, or trot, or slow down, or walk in a circle. And I think I was one of the last ones to do it. And they only swapped the horses out once. I don't know why they didn't do it like for every person. Probably because that would have been exhausting, and it would have taken too much time to settle each horse. I don't even know if they had that many horses. But like a couple people go, and then they bring out the horse that they were using. They bring in a new one. And by the time it got to my turn, this horse got so used to just doing it, what you're supposed to tell the horse to do, that the horse just did it on its own. I didn't have to do anything. So I get in there. The guy helps me on the horse, because I'm like a 14-year-old boy. I can't get on this horse by myself. And I get the reins or whatever, and the guy's walking it around this corral thing. It's a big circle shape. He's like, okay, do this, and then the horse did it, and I'd still try to do it, but after a while I just sat there. He's like, okay, good. And after like 2 minutes, we're like, all right, you're good. And he helps me down. I get out, and I got the merit badge, because they only swapped the horses once. And the horse just had it memorized. The whole routine. They didn't swap up the routine or anything. The horse just did it on its own. And it was interesting. But that was a nice camp. There was, so there's the horse ranch, and then there was this big lake. Yeah, it was really dusty at this camp. So, and there was a moose, like a big bull moose. I don't know. It had antlers. But there was this big moose that lived on the camp, probably because it was safe there. I don't know. There was a big body of water. And we were walking back from the horse area because it's on like the end of the camp, like near the entrance of the camp that you drive up to or whatever. And we're walking back, and they're like, "Look behind you!" And the moose is behind us. The moose is following us. And we're like, "Oh, there's that big moose." The moose never hurt anybody. It probably wasn't even scared of us. It was big. I think that was one of the few times I've seen a moose. It was really cool. And my dad found a dead squirrel in a garbage can at camp in our camp. So each troop had this area where we camped with a fire pit, and then there were some logs around the fire pit that we'd sit at. And the garbage can that they provided had a dead, it was probably a chipmunk. I don't think it was a squirrel, but it was in the bottom of the garbage can, probably because I fell in there and I couldn't climb out. Yeah, there's a dead chipmunk in the garbage can. And yeah, that camp was pretty interesting because there was a younger boy. He was kind of a brat. He was really annoying. But it was really dusty. So one of the leaders told it, because he just wouldn't shut up. So like, "Hey, if you sweep the camp, I'll give you $5." It's like, "Oh, okay." But it's just dirt and really dusty. So he spent like an hour or so just sweeping with a broom, accomplishing nothing, just moving the dirt around. But he shut up for a while. And my dad was the cub master, so he was the scout master for the younger boys, 8 to 11. That's the Cub Scouts. And he just liked coming to scout camp with us. So but he had to come like 2 or 3, I think it was 2 days after we got there. But he had a Malibu at the time. His car was a Malibu. That car had a lot of memories. I threw up in that car. And anyway, he had to take off the catalytic converter or whatever makes the car quiet. So it was super loud. So you could hear him coming up. When you got to the camp, you could hear him from probably 10 miles away. It was super loud. But my dad, he had a pair of pants he brought with him that were like really beat up. So he had the bright idea, because when an American flag gets kind of beat up or ripped up from just being used for a long time, for years and years, getting wind whipped and in the hail and whatever, it gets beat up. So when you retire a flag, you fold it up into the triangle, that triangle shape, and maybe sometimes you don't. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've witnessed the flag retirement. But you throw it in a fire to retire the flag. and my dad had that bright idea to retire his pants, his jeans. So there's probably a video on Facebook somewhere of us all standing around the fire pit saluting while my dad sings a song about his jeans. And it stunk so bad. It was stinky. The smoke turned, probably because of the dyes in the jeans. But he sang like a 5-minute song about his pants. But he throws the pants in there, and it stinks. It's not like like the worst smell ever, but it was not pleasant. It was pungent, and it was one that would make your nose hairs curl, I think, in a cartoon. But the smoke turned into this yellow color. I think it turned green, and then into this pale yellow. And yeah, it was something. It was something. Yeah. And my friend is like, at the time, I don't know if he still is, but he doesn't like bugs. He doesn't like bugs at all. So it was one night we had to share a tent with the annoying kid that we shut up by convincing him to sweep our camp. And he was being obnoxious all night. And there was, we were like getting up or whatever. We turned on a flashlight, and there's an earwig in the tent. And we're like, oh, it's an earwig. And my friend starts freaking out to get the earwig out of the tent. And we're like, it's an earwig. It's harmless. They can't hurt you. They're just gross. But I feel bad about it because we teased him about it so hard we made him cry over an earwig. It was. I feel really bad about it, but it was funny. And then we were teasing about it, and then he started crying. And we're like, oh. We're like, no, it's okay. Look, and we got rid of it. I think I squished it, or we got rid of the earwig. But the poor guy was just. He did not like it. He did not like the earwig. Yeah. And, yeah. I went to, because growing up, when I was in Scouts, there'd be a Scout camp every year, and then there'd be like a church camp for the youth. It'd either just be the ward or congregation, or it'd be with the stake. I think the stake did one like every other year. So I go to like 2 camps a year. And Mormons, it's really dumb. But Mormons like to LARP. They like to, they do this camp like every 5 years. They do this camp called Trek. And Trek is when the Mormon youth go out to the middle of nowhere and pretend to be Mormon pioneers settling the West. So, because it's really messed up. Because you can hear stories about people's treks. They had a good time, and when Trek like first started, it was like hardcore, because the pioneers, they would eat nothing but flour and water every day, or they'd get meat if one of the cows died and they had to slaughter it. It was rough. But yeah, anyway, So at Mormon Trek, the youth, they put you into quote unquote families, and you it was um, heavily encouraged to go and and find an ancestor's name that was a pioneer and pretend to be them or quote unquote represent them at Trek, or for whatever reason. So they put you into a family. Mine was me and two other guys and three other girls, I think. And each family has a ma and a pa, which is just one older girl and one older guy. And I was too young to be a pa, I think. And if you're curious about this, just YouTube search Mormon Trek stories, and you'll find a bunch. Good and bad. Lots of bad ones. I don't know why they do this anymore. I mean, mine wasn't so bad. But I heard stories from people at that Trek, from leaders. I think they made this one lady when she was younger. They made her slaughter, so they'd give them each a chicken. And if they wanted to eat, they had to slaughter the chicken. And that's just messed up. They didn't make us do that. They gave us Doritos and stuff. But yeah, so you're in this group of 6, and then they assign you two adult leaders, a guy leader and a lady and a woman leader, to kind of like be chaperones. They weren't allowed to like push the cart or anything. I think it was just us. Trek is just a whole bunch of walking and pulling hand carts. Yeah, I can talk about the mad stuff at another time. Well, anyway, it was an okay experience, I'd say. It was just a whole lot of walking. We were supposed to have air-conditioned buses to take us to the where Trek is going to happen, right? But that never happened. They pull up in school buses. So we're sitting in a school bus for probably 5 or 6 hours to get there. It was like all day. And when you're at Trek, you can't wear a t-shirt or anything. You have to go get button-up shirts, and ladies have to wear dresses. And walk tens of miles in them over the course of the week. And they told us, hey, make sure you bring like a cup to eat your flour in, because when we got there, they gave us a bag of flour as our dinner for one of the days, because there'd be a day where the hike, quote unquote hike, is just flat land, but it'd be so long that we'd have to stop halfway through to have dinner or lunch or whatever before we get back to base camp, where the leaders would make us dinner. And the food was really good. Like the dinner the leaders made us at base camp, or whatever you call it, it was really good food. It was like pancakes, bacon, sausage, all this stuff. It was good. But they give us this bag of flour that you're keeping in your sweaty back pocket or whatever, because one of these hikes you're gonna have to eat it. There won't be any food, because the pioneers had to eat flour for their meals. They just mix it with water and eat it. I think it was called it gruel or whatever. So we're like, okay. So I got a cup before I left, before Trek happened. We went out and bought a cup. I don't have it anymore. But we get to this pavilion where with all these picnic tables, and we sit down and we eat. And so like, okay, go ahead and eat your flour or whatever. So I'm like, okay. I'm upset because I don't want to eat this. This is dumb. So I pour it in my cup. Pour the back of flour in my cup. This little pouch of flour, a fistful of flour, and put some water in there, and start mixing it. And then some of the adults roll up with a handcart full of little bags of Doritos and sandwiches. And like, surprise! You don't have to eat your flour. I was like, come on! I put it in the cup already. So basically, that cup was just ruined. I don't know why I didn't wash it out. But I was like, great. I was very happy I didn't have to eat the flour. Yeah, I can talk about that another time. Well, unless I just keep talking about it. I think we didn't have toilets. There was a kaibo, an outhouse, and there was a girl that dropped her phone in the kaibo, and the leaders, they spent like hours fishing for it. They eventually got it out, put it in a Ziploc bag because it's covered in poop. It was gross. Yeah. It was exhausting. I definitely don't recommend it. I could get into the ways it's problematic or whatever, but I'd be here for another hour, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I hope that wasn't too boring. I didn't do many triggers doing that. I apologize if I was too loud too. Yeah. I would say overall, it wasn't too bad an experience. I mean, when we were leaving, so I probably should have started with this, but to prepare for Trek, they told us everything that we bring with us, except for like the clothes and stuff that we keep in our tents. But like wet wipes, our snacks that we brought with us. Everything else had to fit in a 5-gallon bucket, like a Home Depot bucket, with a lid on it. And everything had to fit in there, so we put our buckets in the hand carts, and that's what we would carry, along with a water cooler full of water. Yeah. And my grandma was like, hey, let's put a cushion on your bucket so you're not sitting on your bucket lid. So we got a piece of plywood, and we put some stuffing on and wrapped it with some faux leather, and we stapled it to the lid. And everyone was like, that's really smart. When I got there, everyone was like, oh, that's smart. Why didn't I do that? It's like, why didn't you do this? But anyway, everything we had with us had to be in this bucket. Because it would have been too cumbersome to just carry everything in the cart. It would make a mess. Because the handcart companies that saddled the West, um, uh, there'd be like people from England and Poland and Norway that would come to America because the missionaries would convince them to drop everything and move to America. Because, yeah, anyway, so they get here, and it's really messed up. But they get here with all these family heirlooms and all this stuff in Missouri, and the handcar companies, they were supposed to be just wagons, but the church wanted to save money, so they commissioned all these hand carts. Because they're cheaper, and you don't have to take care of a couple oxen. But the thing, so, because if you had the covered wagons, you could bring all your stuff, because the oxen are pulling it. But because they were hand carts, they couldn't bring all their stuff with them. So all these people that immigrated from Europe and around there, they had to sell everything. They could only bring 15 pounds of stuff. So that's what? A couple of blankets, your winter clothes, and some lighter clothing. And maybe some water skins and some other stuff. You can't bring those family heirlooms or anything like that. So in the city of Missouri, there's all these Europeans trying to sell all this jewelry because they need money to buy these handcarts, because the church is making them pay for it too. I think, if I recall correctly, at the Mormon church. But because there's this influx of people from Europe trying to sell all these family heirlooms, they're selling for dirt cheap. They're not getting their money's worth by selling all these precious things. And on top of that, the handcarts are being commissioned at a time when the wood is still green. So the wood is softer. It hasn't been hardened. There's not enough of this hardened wood, this dry wood, aged wood, to make these handcarts. And they didn't want to wait another year or whatever to go out west because the prophet's telling them to. So they build these handcarts out of green wood that's softer and it bends. And with the handcart, they band the wheels in this layer of iron plate to make it harder. And some of the carts, they couldn't afford this iron. Anyway, without going on this angry rant, the pioneers suffered quite a bit. Not because they and they didn't have to. If the church just paid for wagons or waited for more hardwood, drier wood, to make these handcarts, people wouldn't have suffered so bad. How do you get that floating fairy thingy? I'm using VTube Studio, and it's the watermark for the VTube Studio application. It's very cute. You can pay. VTube Studio is free, so this floating fairy thing is a watermark, letting so they know that you're using VTube Studio, and you can pay You can buy the DLC on Steam to remove it. It's like $10. It is cute. Excuse me. I think it's based on a model that's just a free model with YouTube Studio. It is very cute. But yeah. Yeah, if you're curious, there's plenty of podcasts out there that talk about what the Mormon pioneers went through. If you're curious, just do a quick YouTube search. If you're curious. But yeah, I get kind of upset when I think about it. But yeah, I don't know if they do track anymore. I think some people do track. Some stakes still do it, but I don't know. I don't know. Give me 1 second to drink some water. Is there a separate chat? I don't think so. It's just the Twitch chat. Oh, alright. No worries. No worries. Do you have a favorite trigger? ASMR trigger? I'd be happy to do it for you before we call it a night here. It's almost 10 for me. I'll gladly do it for you if you'd like. No worries if there's not any. I'm just curious. Boop song? Is that a trigger word? I don't know what that is. Visual. Oh, when you boop them. Okay. I don't think I can do that. Let's see. When I go for the mic, like this. Yeah, I like it too. It kind of sounds like waves. call it a night. I'm not sure who to raid. I need to swap my headphones real quick because my headset's plugged into my mic so I can hear what you guys hear. Oh, that's right. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. It means a lot. I do ASMR every Sunday, and I'm going to see how it goes. I'm gonna do it every Wednesday and Sunday, every night, and I play games on other days. Tomorrow will probably just be a bunch of demos, a bunch of Steam demos, for like, most of them are visual novels, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But give me one moment, and I'll swap my headphones back. Swap my headphones over. Yeah, one sec. Okay. Let's see here. Excuse me. Okay. I'll rate this person. They're doing ASMR too. And they're reading. I'm not sure what they're reading. Okay. But thank you guys for being here today. Stopping by. Thank you. Thank you for the follows, Clean and Zuxti. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow night with some demos. Rating this person. They seem nice. I think they're reading. But they're doing ASMR too, so I'm gonna send you guys there, so hopefully none of you wake up in the transition. I didn't get an ad yet anyway, so hopefully nobody wakes up. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to brush your teeth, drink water, floss, all that stuff. Get some good sleep, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Peace. Be nice. They seem nice. That rhymed. Bye bye. Love you guys. Bye bye.